everyone, and welcome to The Table today, the place where we share our sometimes too honest opinions and just do life together. I'm Mary Ellen, and today I'm joined by Shona.
Hi.
Melody and Julie. Lovely to have you here. Today we have some dangerous topics of conversation in store for you, even some involving life or death situations. We'll be talking to Joanne Anderton, who's written a children's book, The Flying Optometrist, inspired by her father, Dr. Phil Anderton, who's passionate about restoring vision in remote Australian communities. We'll also be discussing the hidden dangers of Afterpay, whether your primary-aged boys and girls need more male primary teachers, and how to make sweet potato toast. All that and more coming up. But first of all, a bit of a controversial topic, ladies, voluntary euthanasia. Now, this has been in the news a lot recently, with Australia's oldest scientist, David Goodall, recently deciding to fly from his home in Western Australia all the way to Switzerland just to end his life. Now, obviously, this topic has a load of moral implications, but Melody, I just wanted to ask you, I'm going to throw this one at you. Do you agree with the moral, do you think it's a good idea that he's done this? Do you agree morally or do you disagree?
I have no morals, no.
Whoa. Wrong person to ask.
Seriously though, I'm actually really conflicted with this. There is a part where I know of people with chronic pain, right? And you get to the point where do you want to maintain their dignity and their independence and give them that, dignified way to die? But then yet at the same time, as a Christian, it's not your call to say life or death. So I really am very conflicted as to whether, I don't really know where it goes.
I'm quite pro-euthanasia.
Okay.
I think probably I've got stronger that way because of some experiences I've had with family members. And I know there is a conflict, but I think the extent we go to in our medical system to keep people alive is probably not natural anyway, and that's what I saw.
Actually, I've got a statistic on that. Apparently, for every hour a person over 65 is in ICU, it costs $202, which is 71%.
Hold on. Are we going to put in the cost of things here?
To me, the money is
That's true. That's a good point.
It's not. But then, with what you're saying, I did some research, right? Then, and it gets down to the stage where either you do euthanasia, or you put them in this thing called palliative sedation, which means they're in this deep sleep.
And
What's
What's the difference?
Anyway.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Look, and I'm the same. I'm conflicted because as a Christian, we're not supposed to murder, and suicide is a form of murder. So I had that conflict. I watched my father-in-law die of pancreatic cancer, so he was drug-induced and basically drowned to death. And then I think of, guys who are so mentally ill and so depressed that they suicide. And at the end of the day, I think it's not my choice, it's not my right to judge, but I keep coming back to that Christian thing that God put us here. It's only God who should have the right to take us away.
Life. And I think it's also maybe a little bit of a different story because this man, David Goodall...
He was healthy.
He was healthy.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think it's a bit of a different argument.
There's so many variables I think you've got to consider in these situations. Can the person make a good decision? What about the people in hospital if they have to do this and they're not comfortable doing this?
And it just becomes a bit of a slippery slope.
There are so many minefields that have to be discussed.
Or you get these social old age care workers who injure people and try to kill them off, and there's so many
some
of those
horror
guys.
stories with that as well.
I think what I see it is it's an end of life. If you're already definitely at the end of your life anyway, do we withdraw things that will extend people's life when they're going to die anyway? That's and end suffering, or let suffering not continue because of, we can do it with drugs.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of what David Goodall was trying to make a stand for. We should be implementing this. It's going to happen eventually, so it might as well happen now. I don't know. What's your say? Please hit us up on our Facebook page. We'd love to hear your story. But something else that we've heard about in the news recently, and if you haven't, well, you're going to hear about it now because it's Afterpay. Now, it's a new payment system that promises a buy now, pay later scheme where you don't have to pay any interest on your purchases. Now, that sounds fantastic to me, but is it more sinister than it's made out to be? Now, Shona, I'm going to throw this one at you because you've got a bit of business experience behind you. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I didn't even know what Afterpay was until I started walking past some shops and seeing signs and thinking, what on earth is Afterpay? So I did a little bit of research on this, and I actually think it's a debt trap for most people because Australians and most people in the world cannot manage debt, and we're getting further and further into debt. So, and we pretty much live ourselves. If you can't buy it with cash, you save up and buy it.
That's the thing. That's the whole budget, like 101, right? It's like if you can't afford it, then don't. It doesn't matter that you can pay it interest-free or not.
No.
Yeah, I'm so against this. I don't even have a credit card, so I'm very anti-credit.
Yep.
And I think we live in a generation of I want it now.
Yes.
This delayed gratification thing is not something that we're good at or our children are good at. And I really worry. People go into it saying, I'll pay it on time, I'll pay it on time.
They don't,
but,
and they don't. And
But
then they
statistics
accrue.
show us that they don't pay their credit card on time.
Apparently, so you have to pay once a week for 4 weeks to like pay off a whole amount of money. And if you're late, you get a $10 fee each time, and it can add up to like
$7 after that.
and then something
See,
like
the
that.
company wouldn't exist if people were paying it on time. Yeah.
Well,
that's the thing, right?
The documentation says that most, I think something like 70% of the people are paying on time.
Yeah.
But they're making money off the people who
that
are
aren't,
not
exactly.
paying it on
And I
time.
find
But the
it hard
thing-
to believe that 70% actually are. Really.
And the thing is, there was a story on 9 News where a girl had bought, she was 15, right? You have to be 18 to use this service, but the problem is you can sign up so easily, it's just an app. She went in and bought a $350 handbag, and then she couldn't make the payments, and her mum had to pay for it. Anyway, big story, but I think the issue is that we've talked about this before as well, that children just don't really understand how to save money. They don't really understand the concept of money. What do you think?
I don't think it's just children, though.
And look, and again, it's the same as the mobile phone thing. Monkey see, monkey do. And, you know, not to toot my horn, but my son is saving up to go to Europe in his gap year. He's halfway through it. He's managed to save enough money so that he can get a working visa and all the rest of it because he wants to do it. And I said, I'm not giving you any money. You want to do it? You go work
Go learn the
and
hard
save your money. The other one, it goes out like this.
Yeah, different children.
Different children.
Don't they spend money differently? I
Yes.
see that within my own too. And I've tried so hard to teach them to save up. I think example is all we can do.
Yep.
And, teach them that way.
The problem we have with society right now is that there are just so many different ways to get into debt, and so easy to get into debt. And Afterpay is just another one of them.
Yeah, it's just another trap.
It's another
And now
credit
you
card.
have to pay to get out of debt these days. It's crazy. I can only imagine the crazy debt that I would get into if I was using Afterpay. Probably buying a better wardrobe would be my first point of call. But luckily, one thing I don't have to worry about is buying a gym membership, because we have Alicia here to give us some free personal training tips. Check it out.
Hey there, Alicia from the Table TV, resident personal trainer with you. We're going to chat about a little topic of flat belly mistakes.
Oh, I'm out.
So everyone wants to have the flat belly, right? But there's a few things that people think you need to do in order to get it that they're just completely wrong. So do you want to throw some out? Yes.
Sit-ups.
You
Hence
ain't.
why I don't do them.
So why is that wrong?
Yeah, okay, so sit-ups and crunches basically only work the top abs here, right? The rectus abdominis. There is so many more muscles to the core than just that. And in fact, especially if you're a mum, after you've had kids, just working that's actually not helpful, because that's usually where the separation has happened, right?
Bingo.
So imagine pushing is just going to push it all up and out. That's not really good. So crunches and sit-ups are really not the answer, as is trying to just do abs every day. Like, it's like any other muscle. If you're going to work it, you want to do it really well in one workout and then leave it resting for a couple days
So
before
more
you
a
do it.
well-rounded approach
Exactly.
to the... Okay, got it.
Exactly.
What other muscles? Because obviously those are the ones we see when guys take their shirts
Yeah,
off at the
that's right.
beach. But what other? I'm saying that's where we see.
Yeah, you've got like your six-pack, your typical six-pack. Then you've got what's called the oblique muscles on the sides. Then you've got your deep transverse abdominal muscles, which is actually your core strength. They're the ones that you work with Pilates, with your pelvic core, pelvic floor exercise, is the actual deep ones that wrap around the front and the back. And then you've got your like lower and upper abs as well. So it's really, like
So
you
there are
say,
exercises
for all of that.
So if we're not going to do crunches and sit-ups and all that sort of
No.
stuff, what should we be doing? And is it
Yep.
diet related? Like,
Yes.
if I'm putting the wrong things in but doing all the
Correct.
crunches,
Can I burn them off?
Can I burn them off?
So another flat belly mistake is that you can't out-train a bad diet. And really, the reason why someone has a very lovely sculpted core is because their body fat percentage is low enough to see the muscles, And if they have actual, definition, that means that they've also strengthened those muscles. So everyone's got core muscles; they're all there, but you're not going to see them unless body fat is decreased. Yeah, so that's pretty much.
So it does come down to diet.
Oh yeah, like I would say 80% of it is diet.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yep. So yeah, flat belly mistake. Number whatever that was, 3, is that, yeah, you can't just think that if you train your abs every day, you're going to have a great looking flat belly. Yeah, you've actually got to eat clean and also train all of your ab muscles rather than just doing crunches and sit-ups and things like that. So I'll show you a couple of variations really quick. A really great one to start with is obviously the plank. So planking can be done from your elbows. You want your back out nice and flat. You want to pull that belly button in towards your spine in that plank position, and you want to make sure or imagine that you've got 2 strings attached to your hip bones pulling them towards the sky. And then there's so many variations of that. I mean, you can do it on your hands, you can do like leg things out here, you can do like...
Oh, righto.
So many things, right? Yeah.
Is it working all of your abs when you're doing...
Yes, it is. It is. And it's working through that deep core as well, which is what you want. If you really want a strong core, not just a good-looking core. And at the end of the day, a good-looking core doesn't mean anything necessarily if those deeper muscles are not worked. So you might have popping abs, but that doesn't mean that your deep core muscles are even strong, funnily enough. So yeah, and another one that's good particularly for pregnancy and postnatally is the 4-point kneeling position. You can do lots of things here. You know, like you can do circles and reaching and all that stuff.
Is that working round here or that's all round?
Yeah, all core stability and also lower back. So some of those mistakes of trying to get a flat belly are trying to just do crunches and sit-ups or ab exercises every day or, you know, out training bad diet. It's not going to work. So we encourage you to do it properly, work out everything and eat clean, and then you're going to feel so much better about yourself and that flat tummy will come eventually. All right, see you later.
Do you like those exercises, ladies?
Sure.
Well, I don't know about you, but when I was in primary school, there was only one male teacher who never actually taught me. My female teachers were all incredible women, but looking back, I often wonder, did I miss out on something? And that's exactly the concern that Ian Davis has shared on essentialkids.com. With only 10% of Australian primary teachers being male, are our children missing out on something essential? Now, Julie, you were a primary teacher?
Primary teacher
for a while.
Yep.
What did you notice? Did you think this was a problem when you were a teacher?
I love male primary teachers. I think they're the best. The ones that I had when I was at school and the ones that I taught with were just wonderful, and I think they connected with the kids in a way that was different from the way we dealt with kids. I did primary teaching myself because of a wonderful primary teacher that I had. My girls had a wonderful male primary teacher, and I just think we need more good men in our primary schools teaching kids. I think more importantly, we want good teachers, but I think we really, really need a lot of good men.
So why do you think we don't have so many male teachers?
Do you know what? I think we really need to identify what's stopping men from going into primary teaching so that we can address that issue, because I think it's a really important issue. I'm not sure what it is.
Do you think it's a pay level thing, or is it that, you know, male, because I know I was speaking to some male teachers during the week about this, and for them it was, you know, the pay and the job, you know, the ceiling of the job. There's only, you can only go to being a principal, and there's so few principal jobs.
So do primary teachers earn less than high school teachers? I don't really know, because they have...
slightly.
See, I don't think that should be a thing. I think they should be earning the same. I've noticed that primary teachers tend to do primary teaching because they love kids. High school teaching will do high school teaching because they love the subject. I'm speaking generally. And I think we need to have male teachers that are nurturing, and people can see that men can be just as nurturing.
It's actually a really important stage, because like parenting experts have already studied, right, for boys especially, once they reach around 7 years, which is when you start primary school, right? The father isn't the only role model that they need. They need other male mentors out there as well. And that's when you really need the primary school male primary school teachers.
Yeah, and I think my boys had one at year 5, year 6, because it was a combined class. And I think that's a really important time in their life, because, you know, dad's out working all the time at that stage because he's trying to earn enough money, and mum's not necessarily there either. And that's when boys start developing muscles and start, you know, becoming boys.
Someone someone to look up to, someone
Yeah.
who's in their life all
And
the
often
time,
they may not have a male role model in their home
Exactly.
as well, which is
So
happening more and
important.
more. Makes it even more important.
Yeah. Well, have your kids had male primary teachers, or have they not had one and you'd like them to? Let us know on Facebook. But now Gia and Olive are cooking up some delicious sweet potato toast in the kitchen. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds delicious. Check it out.
I'm bigger.
You are. So we are making sweet potato toast. I don't know if you heard about, hi. So I don't know if you've heard about this new fad, the sweet potato toast fad, but you'll see it on social media. I'm sure if you haven't come across it yet, you will. And we're gonna show you, I was like, that's a bit weird, but I tried it and my family tried it and they all loved it. So I thought, winner. This is such an easy way to make breakfast and it's so filling because of the sweet potato. I'm just gonna share some tricks with you. One is people on social media and the ones that you have seen say just to cut 1/4 inch slices of sweet potato and just put them straight into the toaster. But I find it takes forever to cook through. It takes you've got to toast it for 20 minutes. So it's something I didn't want to do. So what I do now is I cut it in little slices. It's going to be hard, sorry. So just about 1/4 inch. Just watch your fingers because this one's sharp, okay? Maybe not. Okay, got it. Gotcha. Okay, so you need slices around that thick, just 1/4 inch. And I just put baking paper, line a tray with baking paper, and I line them up next to each other and I just bake them for 10-15 minutes just so that they soften up. So we just put them in a container like this and they last for about a week for the 5 days, like Monday to Friday. We have our breakfast sorted. So it's an easy breakfast and I'll show you what I do. So I just take the sweet potato out and you know what, you could even cut them in half. And I'll cut another one in half as well. And you put it in the, well, I might stand it up so it's easier to grab. Put it in the toaster and just toast them. They'll warm straight through. And I'm going to show you some different toppings that I like using for the family, or that is our favourite. One of the toppings I have is like a cashew cheese. So if you want to see that, you can go to our website and find the recipe for the cashew cheese. Okay, so they're just about ready.
Yes.
There we go, pop.
Pop.
And if you want them to cook a bit more, have a bit of a dark colour, you could just put them in for longer. I've just put them on just a medium heat. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to put some cashew cheese on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yum.
Yum. You go, girl. No, you won't have that one. I know which one you're going to have.
I'm gonna
Let me guess. You're going to have the strawberry one? Okay. You like the strawberry one with the peanut butter, don't you? Or the almond butter that we put on there?
And don't forget little bits of avocado
Okay. Oh, okay. We'll put some avocado on that.
Yep.
Some
And
avocado.
this is yum.
Oh, but if you cook it. And I've got some just sauerkraut, some beetroot, or this one's cabbage sauerkraut, but red cabbage sauerkraut, which just gives it some flavour and a bit of...
I don't want red cabbage on
Oh,
mine.
no, I'll be eating that one, not you. That one's my favourite. And I'll just put some sesame seeds on that.
No
I've toasted these
sesame.
sesame seeds with a little bit of tamari.
No sesame
So,
seeds.
not on your
mine.
one, nope. And now we'll make a sweeter version, which is with almond butter, or you can use peanut butter, or you can use Brazil nut or cashew nut, whatever butter you like, whatever nut butter you like. Okay, you want some strawberries on your one?
Yes.
Okay, we'll put some strawberries on your one. That's cool. Let's get some strawberries, because in that way, delicious. If you've got walnuts, I would even throw some walnuts on top with a little drizzle of honey. Although, you know what, it is sweet already, but I don't mind with the sweet ones if you just drizzle a touch of honey and some walnuts. I don't have walnuts right now, but we could have some in the cupboard. Yep, just a little drizzle of honey. And there you have it. There you go. These, honestly, try it. Like I said, I was a skeptic and now I definitely love them. You want to have a bite? Okay, you have a bite of your one. Is that good? Yeah. Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later, alligator. Yeah.
Thanks, Gia and Olive. Now, this week we have a great little recipe book to give away, and I've got it right here. It's called Health and Happiness, and it's yours absolutely free. All you need to do is send us an email with your postal address, and the name of this week's giveaway, which is again Health and Happiness. Our email address is hello@thetabletv.com, or if you prefer to phone us, the number for Australia is 1300 300 389, and our Kiwi viewers can call us on 0800 694 673. Love it. Now, joining us in the studio are a father and daughter duo, Joanne and Dr. Phil Anderton, who are not only restoring vision to remote Australian communities, but also writing books to encourage children to feel comfortable wearing glasses. Now, Joanne, you're obviously a writer.
Yes.
I just want to ask you about this book. Like, I absolutely love the front cover of it. I think it's such a cool, graphic.
Gorgeous,
It is gorgeous. Now, what inspired you to write the book?
Well, my dad, he would come back from his trips flying his little plane that he built himself.
Wow.
I know, right? He would go out to remote communities in the outback and test people's eyesight. And he would come back and tell stories. And I don't know if it's because I'm a writer and we're a little bit strange sometimes, but I immediately thought, oh, that would make such a good kids' book. And so I had the opportunity to go out with him on an adventure to a little place called Wenaring, which is out in northwest New South Wales. And I enjoyed the adventure itself, you know, the flying in the little red plane. It's a two-seater. You're close to the elements out there. But I also met some amazing people in the town. And, you know, I wear glasses or contact lenses and I have my whole life. And it occurred to me, meeting these people, that I take this for granted. I can go down the road and get glasses. But these people need to wait twice a year for someone like Dad to turn up and provide a service that we take for granted. So I thought, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to tell this story.
Yeah, absolutely. And Phil, so these trips that you take, is this a volunteer sort of thing that you do, or how did it start? How did you get into it?
Well, I'm semi-retired. Mary and my wife sometimes argues I'm more semi than retired. But I was asked by the Brian Holden Vision Institute, which through the Rural Doctors Network in New South Wales, they fund all the outreach services that go to outback and rural places. So I was asked by him whether I'd be interested in being involved in doing clinics with remote communities and also Aboriginal communities. So both of these clinics are specifically for Aboriginal communities, one in Wenaring and the other in Tibooburra. And my schedule is I go out there twice a year. It's very important for everyone, particularly over the age of 40 or 50, to have regular eye examinations, because we now know there are 5 conditions which cause most of the common conditions which cause most of the vision loss. And of those conditions, 94% are treatable.
94%?
Wow.
94%. So if you pick them up early, you can stop the blindness.
So how often is regular? Do we go, how often?
Before the age of I can go by Medicare. Medicare funds a rebate for examinations before the age of 65 once every 3 years,
Right.
and after 65 once every year, and that's a reasonable approach. Except if ever there's any change in vision or change in the eye or deep pain in the eye, you should always see someone as an emergency, because it can indicate something going wrong quickly.
Yeah, I'm going to change tack a little bit, because I read the book and that story just captured my imagination, because coming from Singapore, I don't really know what it's like to be living in the Australian bush. What is it like to fly in and be there with the community?
Oh, it's wonderful. There is a culture there which is totally different from urban Australia.
I can imagine, yeah.
An air of resilience and flexibility and ability to deal with things. For example, in Wenaring, there is no mobile phone service. There is a radio phone which is shared by all the people in town. So one of the things which entertains the locals is to see when people from the city call in and get out to refuel their cars, and then they go, this thing that they rely on for their whole life suddenly doesn't work. Wow. And all the locals just have a little chuckle,
There's such a discrepancy, I think, between the facilities we have in Sydney or Sydney, Australia. We're very lucky to live here, and then all these remote communities. And I guess my question is sort of, is this something you tried to bring out in the book? Like, is that sort of the purpose of this book in general?
Yeah, well, the main purpose, I think, of any book, but kids' books in particular, is to capture the imagination. I think as humans, we're really wired for story. We learn, we experience life through stories. But underneath that, and I think that's still really important, but underneath that, I think there is a message about the difference between living in the country and living in the city and having access to, I mean, I keep saying it, but I really felt it, things that I take for granted. Like when I went with Dad, we were made so welcome. We were fed, my goodness, you wouldn't imagine the food that we were given. And everyone came and everyone had a chat and we'd all meet at the pub, and it was wonderful. But it was also fascinating because, there was this tiny little medical centre with one room. And so Dad's setting up all his, the glasses, the frames that people can choose from on the bed in the medical centre because there's nowhere else to do it. And, sitting in these tiny rooms with this one nurse. Are they nurses there?
They are nurses, and they're wonderful women. The remote nurses, many of whom are there on their own, or they might be there swapping every week or two with another remote nurse, and they're the only health professional in town.
Wow.
So if there is a car accident, or if somebody has a heart attack, or there are traumas on the farm, they're there to deal with it. And of all the women I've met in my life, they're not saying they're the best, but I was totally knocked over when I finally realised the level of responsibility
and the resilience
required from remote nurses. They are amazing women. And not all women. The ones who are women are amazing women, and the ones who are men. The other organisation that's important is the Royal Flying Doctor Service.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
So, for example, if I'm there and I see a case which needs immediate attention from an eye specialist, I'll say to the nurse, this person is an emergency. You need to get them to the eye hospital or an eye specialist in Adelaide. If I'm in, Adelaide's closer than Sydney. So,
one thing I picked up with the book, and it's something that my children faced when they were younger, they had to wear glasses for a short time, was the bullying. And that, for me, that would sort of take that stigma away because they can see how important it is.
Yes.
And how hard for the city kids, it's hard to get glasses. And sorry, for the city kids, it's easy to get glasses. For the guys in the remote areas, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are so many people around the world who are blind because they don't have access to glasses. And so that was a part of it as well. Like, I wear them, I'm blind without them. But we are so lucky. We are so lucky to have
just drive down the road.
So is it enough to visit them twice a year? Like, is that?
It's better than no one visiting at all. But there's, apart from myself, there are also general practitioners who fly in with the Royal Flying Doctor Service once a year. And rural GPs are really good with, not saying that city GPs aren't, but being a rural practitioner of any kind, you just need to have a broad spectrum of professional activity. So
absolutely.
the rural nurse is fantastic with eyes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been so awesome to hear this story, and one that's not really told very often, so thank you so much. If you'd like to check out more of today's episode, please hit us up on our social media, and thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a good week, and just remember there's always a place for you at the table. Bye.